Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real-Time 3D and Virtual Production Info Session presented by CG Spectrum. I'm your host today, and my name is Yan. Brief introduction of myself. I'm the course advisor at CG Spectrum, also a member of our admissions team. The admissions team is the first point of contact if you are interested in our school and our course. We have course advisors in both North America, and we have admissions managers in Australia to cover all different time zones. So feel free to send us a message through the inquiry field in our websites or email us at admissions@cgspectrum.com. We can schedule a call, a Zoom meeting online to discuss the courses we provide, any logistical questions, payment plans, and then we can help you to start your career in the game and film industry. Today with us is also Simon, our real-time department head in CG Spectrums. Hello, Simon. How is it going?
Hello. Hi. Yes, so I am the department head for the real-time section of CG Spectrum, and I've been with CG Spectrum since 2015, and we've been sort of building up our school, and we finally got to a point where we can really create a good course structure about real-time specifically, and using Unreal. But my career started back in 2005 when I was working at, got hired at Silicon Knights as a character animator. So I've been kind of in the animation field, and I worked my way up to be more of a technical animator just through at the studio, where you start making scripts and building tools and stuff, and I was focusing on facial rigging and facial mocap and stuff. So that got me into Rocksteady Studios in London, England, where I got to work on Batman Arkham City, which was just a bit of a stroke of luck, but also a really amazing experience. Very talented team working on a project that ended up having a lot of success. And I think while I was there, I got to experience a lot of really interesting techniques. We're using motion capture and facial motion capture. We really got to experience a nice high-level pipeline of industry experience. And then from there, I decided to move on and move back to Canada and get into starting my own studio, working freelance, and building my own apps and development. And that's the same time that I got hired at CG Spectrum, and really lately in the last few years, really focused on building up the community at CG Spectrum and automating a lot of the processes so that we can really give students and mentors good value and good focus for during their classes. So that's been my main focus, and now we're doing this virtual production term, which is a very new and exciting field that's opening up.
Just to mention that Simon is also our mentor for the Foundations game development game art course. So you can know more about Simon by checking out our YouTube channel. Also, we have Logan, our technical artist, with us today. Logan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, how are you all doing today? Thank you for the introduction, Yan. Yeah, my name's Logan, and I started my career a little later than Simon in 2018, and I have a strong background, 4+ years of experience with motion design in After Effects and Cinema 4D, and a few other 3D DCCs. I'm actually a teaching assistant at the School of Motion. I love helping people. I love sharing my information and what I learn with them. And I guess it's almost 3 years ago, I really saw the writing on the wall with where Unreal Engine was going, and I took a deep dive, and I kind of put all my other motion design training on hold and just went full force in Unreal Engine. I found the Unreal Online Learning Hub and kind of gamified it, and just wanted to get as many badges and points as possible. Ended up doing over 100 courses with them, and just becoming obsessed with Unreal. As soon as Unreal 5 early access came out, I was right in there, then Preview 1 and Preview 2, and now we're in production. So I'm finding myself really in love with Unreal 5 and the new tools, and I've been playing around with them for quite a while. I'm really excited to to be a part of CG Spectrum and help share my experience with Unreal and Unreal 5 and help any of the students troubleshoot and get into it as fast as possible. One thing I wanted to highlight is prior to being a motion designer and a real-time artist and a technical artist is that I actually had a career in healthcare as an anesthesia assistant. And I got kind of burnt out with that, and it wasn't in a position where it was creative, and it was a very stressful and difficult role. And I decided to do 180 and put that away and leave that career behind, and take a substantial time to just dedicate myself to only learning. And that was actually one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm happier than I've ever been, and I just wanted to let you all know that even if you feel like you're doing something that isn't right for you, or you're not in a career that you're enjoying, you can turn it all around, and you can go from doing one thing and becoming a full-time and well-paid real-time artist before you know it. So yeah, I just really wanted to share that with the students, that passion, drive, and enthusiasm for this material will help you go very far.
Thank you for sharing, Logan. So before we getting deeper about real-time production today, I would like to introduce our school, CG Spectrum, a bit to everyone here. So at CG Spectrum, our mission is to ensure graduates are the best trained and best prepared for a successful career in their chosen field. We believe in affordable, high-quality, personalized educations that places graduates in demands. We are founded in 2011, and we are providing 100% online training recognized by game and film studios around the world. We became a Rookies certified school since 2019, and in 2021, we became an official Unreal Academy partner and Unreal Authorized Training Center. That's why we have our real-time course today. There are more than 140 mentors around the world today with CG Spectrums, and we are very proud to have 70 to 80% of job success rate based on the recent advanced grads. So wherever you live, which country you're from, you can enroll with CG Spectrums. Currently, we have students from more than 90 countries in the world. And besides the course, the program itself, we also have career development services provided by a very lovely career development manager that I'm going to introduce you later in our sessions. We also provide students with a lifelong access to the private communities on Slack that will give you great connections to the talents remotely around the world. So these are all the courses we offer under 6 different umbrellas. They are game development, virtual production, visual effects, 3D modeling, digital painting, and animations. We are going to continue providing info sessions just similar to this one in the future for all the courses we provide. So stay tuned if you are interested, or pass the info to friends and family around you, whoever that's interested in learning and get their fit into film and game industry. So let's start our sessions about real time with a student's reel from Mark.
can I jump in and talk about that a little bit?
For sure.
So, because I know this whole webinar is just to make sure that, we are a real school and we do actually like make real content. So that demo reel is a very impressive piece that he made. He is one of our best students. He's also happens to be one of our first students, but he was a student with me, and him and another student were making amazing content way early in our foundations course, and they really work hard and they do a great job, and the audio. The reason why there's such beautiful audio in that piece is because his brother works in the audio field, so he was able to collaborate with his brother to make that really nice piece. And he did that in the world building term, in the 12-week world building term, and he had William Fauché as his mentor. And yeah, we're all really impressed by the quality, but he's making also more amazing stuff in the virtual production term, and now he's just entering the portfolio term. So he is really doing a great job. And we have other students that are coming through that are like, really impressive quality. We have a whole range of different type of people. Some people that don't know anything about Unreal, some people that know a lot about it, but like really looking for that angle within virtual production. It's a very interesting mix, and everyone's kind of learning from each other, and they share stuff on the community. It's really interesting to see this, kind of results showing up.
Yeah, I think it's very impressive that Mark hasn't really completed the full course, and he's already able to present works in this level. I would like to pass questions to Logan. We have one student here that is in the similar situation like you did before, and they would like to know how did you make a switch in the workflow? And the question is, how did you figure out which specific direction you wanted to go into?
Yeah, great question, Shoshana. I was just in the middle of typing a response to that. I'm glad that you brought that up, Yan. And it is really one of those situations where, coding Alice in Wonderland is follow the rabbit, right? And one thing leads to another. And so I just started with animation, and then I was like, I read into 2D animation. I was like, you know what, I need a better foundation in Photoshop and Illustrator. Okay, so then I started learning that, and then, well, geez, I really like 3D. So, each thing started leading into the next one. All right, I'm going to learn Cinema 4D because I love 3D. And then it was kind of the case, well, I'm a dreamer and I love making worlds, and I can't make worlds and play in them inside of cinema. So, hey, wow, Unreal, you can actually, hit play and, play the render, so to speak, right? And create this interactive experience. And, going to sleep and dreaming, and then the next day, like putting the dreams into Unreal and building, fun and adventurous worlds, really gets me excited. And then having briefs like, you designing an environment and designing a world, and then within Unreal, as you saw from Mark's reel, you can really go all out on the world building. But even if you're not artist savvy like that, there's all kinds of technical aspects as well that I find myself really interested with, such as blueprint. And I know Simon goes into that with his courses as well. And so it was just really a situation of like one thing leads to the next. And I was told this when I graduated high school, and I never really grasped it until I was in my early 30s, is don't chase the money, chase your dreams, and the money will chase you. And it just turned out to be the best thing ever. So I can't really say like, okay, Shoshana, well, you should do A, B, or C. I'd say getting this course gives you a really broad range of what you can do, and then based on your personality and your interests and your passions, then you'll start to intuitively and naturally and organically follow what you're interested in. And you might discover while you're doing this, hey, what I really love is 3D modeling. And then you could chat with Yan or Simon or one of the other department heads, or maybe you decide that concept art is your thing, or I want to bring my concept art into Unreal. And it's just one of these things where getting a little taste of everything will help you understand where you want to, hone in and harness your skills into a specific region. Unreal is such a vast program. You could spend an entire career down one rabbit hole within it, right? And as Simon said, like Mark's brother did the audio, like audio itself is an entire massive career. And you might start playing around with meta sounds, which is a new thing in Unreal 5, and say, hey, I really want to be a sound designer. Or you might get into the coding aspect and blueprints, and and there's a section on white boxing, gray boxing, and game design and level design is an entire career, and then implementing function is an entire career. So it's just really a matter of playing and discovering. I hope that gives you kind of an answer.
Let's get back to here and see if you're ready to pick Unreal and real-time production as your career, how you should start. There are two pathways that you can choose. The first one, pathway 1, you will start with the Intro to Real-Time 3D and Virtual Production course. This term lasts for 3 months, and it's basically the prerequisites for students to get into the full course here, which is the 9-month real-time 3D and virtual production course. After the intro course and the full course, you'll receive each certificates. Pathway 2, if you are already a professional working in a studio or working in the media sites, you can choose our intense Unreal Connectors program. This is a 12-week intense programs for people who are already, for example, producers, or maybe they are already an artist, but they want to extend their skills into another level and learn real-time productions, because it's a very new thing in the industry right now. So students can also choose pathway 2s and starting from scratch to learn Unreal with us as well. Next, let's talk about the system requirements. As I can see, Shoshana, you also asked questions regarding your laptop with 12 gigabyte of RAM, and we'd like to know if that's possible to run Unreal engines. I think you can find your answer here.
Yeah, so in the intro course, we do a little bit of work with other third-party software. It's one of the things that gives us an advantage over what the Unreal content is. The learning content is that we can talk about how pipelines work within with Unreal. And so we do bring in, it does require a bit more software installing, but all these things are available for free with student educational versions. And we as a school are registered, so we're able to offer that so that you can get these softwares for free. And Substance Painter, Motion Builder, Maya, these are all programs that we talk about what the pipeline looks like to bring assets from that into Maya, or into Unreal, I mean, and discuss some of the challenges and also the options in a little bit. We don't go too far into it because it's a whole thing. If you want to learn about how to use Maya, we have a foundations, we have intro to modeling, intro to animation, that kind of thing. Motion Builder, we just touch on a little bit just to get a sense of what it's like and how it fits into our pipeline, because it's used in the industry quite like prevalently for motion capture and that kind of thing. And and then when you get into the full course, William Fauché has some, Gaia is like a world building, environment, landscape building, very similar to World Builder. I think that's what it's called. And so we bring that up in a couple of weeks. We talk about how to use Adobe or DaVinci Resolve and other third-party softwares and how they link into Unreal. So we try to utilize that as part of our course curriculum, is the fact that it's more than just Unreal. Sometimes you're working with other programs and integrating in. One thing I should mention, though, we don't get into VFX because we have a Houdini course. And so often we get that question is, do we do much VFX? But we don't, because honestly, a mentor is only good at one area. And they might know a little bit about the other areas, but it gets to a point where you're like, if you really want to know about it, you should. So we try to make sure that the content we teach is matched to a mentor that really knows that subject well and is able to give you some proper advice about what direction to go into.
So also just recap Simon's answer very quickly about the courses we have. We do have other courses like Houdini effects and new compostings. So feel free to check out our course list if you're also interested in other software. So next, let's introduce a bit about our curriculum itself. Here's a 12 weeks breakdown of our intro to real-time 3D and virtual production course. Simon or Logan, would you like to elaborate that a little bit more?
Yeah, so, and I also see there's a question there about whether it's going to be in Unreal 4 and Unreal 5. And I'm not sure if Simon, if you want to field that. I think there's going to be a revamp of some of the old material that was in 4 and is going to be in 5. And we're going to teach you exactly how to get set up, even if you've never even installed Unreal Engine. We'll show you the process, show you how to use the marketplace, learn, what a game editor is and the various types of game editors. Unreal is not the only game editor. There are other ones, but it is definitely on the frontier, cutting edge, and spreading across all industries, really, not just gaming. And then going into the industry workflows and how best to use it. And as Simon mentioned, there are so many tools that in a typical studio or in a pipeline, you have each individual for each tool, and they're in their own expertise, but they also need to work together. So that's where understanding the big picture really helps. Then it goes into exporting into the editor, and that's bringing in assets from programs such as Maya. And how do you get those assets from a third-party DCC into Unreal Engine? Then it talks about the basics and the fundamentals of using a material editor. And don't worry, a node material editor can be scary at first, but it's super intuitive. And Simon and I make it really easy to understand and learn. Then it goes into setting up a character where you have actually a character from that's been made from the modeling department with CG Spectrum. And so you can kind of see like, hey, that's how I would work with a modeler or somebody else who's made the character that I want to use. And I've got that file. Now they're giving me that file. Now it's my job to take that, export it out of Maya and bring it into Unreal. And that leads us into part 6, which is actually when you start implementing the animation, and gets into learning a little bit about blueprints and how you would set up a character from scratch into fully fledged moving around, walking around the map. And we do that in a test map, but that gets pretty boring pretty quick. So then we move into white boxing, and that touches on what I was mentioning about level design, and designing a level and an experience that is fun for someone to play is in itself an entire career. So really just give you a snapshot on what you can use to level design. And speaking with Simon earlier in the week, there's a ton of new tools inside of Unreal Engine 5 that are extremely powerful and super intuitive, and a lot of stuff that you might have had to do in another program is now inside of Unreal. So the modeling tools and geometry tools have improved substantially and really make it easy for a beginner or a new person or even an experienced user in Unreal to adopt a new workflow and how you can build a level. Then that leads into the rigging, which is a little bit in Maya and how rigging is done and how rigging is set up. And we get into character rigging, moving into motion capture, and retargeting animations, retargeting animation montages, which is explained in detail. And then finally using the control rig within Unreal. So it really takes you from what is a game editor to being able to take a game character, set it up, animate it, bring it inside of a level, have it rigged up, and start interacting with the Unreal world and make an experience that you could package up and share with your friends even, and get you started and sharing a project with a prospective employer even.
You can see in the theme of this particular term is based around animation, technical animation, and we pair students up with technical animators. We have John Robbins and Brighton Gartner also who are, and Logan here, who are also all technical animation artists that are, and we have another mentor too that might be coming on board, who can help support questions and be able to deal with these more difficult rigging questions. And if we're talking about Unreal 4 and Unreal 5, the fact that we're still learning how Unreal 5 works, Logan and I are still are meeting up and discussing, and he's teaching me stuff that he's learning, and I'm teaching stuff that I know about how to use these new tools, and we're going to be able to integrate that into the curriculum for the new revamp. But meanwhile, you get to talk to the mentors during the Q&A about all these different changes, and we'll discuss what the pros and cons are between the different options, and all of the content we have here, it does actually work in Unreal 5 as far as I'm aware. So the workflows themselves are the same. It's just there's more additional features and tools that we're learning about and trying to figure out how they work to make sure that we teach them in the right way.
For anyone who's curious, I've worked through all of the material that was created in 4, and it 100% works with 5. And then, as Simon mentioned, him and I are working together and learning together, and really that's part of the fun is you can learning every day, and there's changes all the time, and keeping on top of it. And that's why this course is going to help you understand the foundation as well as things that are brand new. So you're getting a glimpse on how to use the tools that very few people are using right now, which I think is a huge advantage.
So the world building term is the first term of the 3-term course for virtual production. So this is after, it's kind of separate from the intro, but it comes afterwards. And this is the course the 12 weeks that William Fauché created. And it's specifically about building sets within Unreal using assets that are available. We don't talk about how to model or how to use ZBrush or anything, because that's really another course you can take, modeling course, which we can take that teaches you all that. So we try to make sure we just focus on the portion that's important for Unreal. And Will did a great job of creating this content, very concise and clear, and went from point A to point B to get from blocking out your scene, your environment scene, to getting it to a final image. And he goes through all sorts of steps explaining how to build landscapes, and talks about lighting, talks about getting the details, and really just the workflow, the blocking and the workflow of how to get a nice final image, and how to you can't see it at first, and you're working your way through it, and you're trying to understand what works good, what's your composure, and how to do the camera moves and stuff. So it's in its own, it does a nice job of just getting environments made in a high quality. And then term 2 is more for the cinematography side of it. So before we were talking about environments, and we're talking about how to set up your backgrounds, and it's important about your composition. But this one, we're really talking about how to do your camera work, and it becomes more about filmmaking and discussing the techniques of filmmaking. But currently this term is being shuffled around a bit. So what we see here is changing a bit to become more concise and more clear cut for taking advantage of what as the mentors can offer you to give you more value. Because what we've discovered is that this is a very difficult term to teach, because it's changing quickly. The content here is it's like virtual production on its own is very widespread. There's lots of career paths all under the same label. And the whole industry is sort of trying to figure out what exactly virtual production is. So it's very difficult to pinpoint exactly how to teach somebody to do something. So our focus is, and what we've found out based on the mentors that we're hiring, that it would be best for the student to just really get some nice solid feedback from people who have filmmaking experience, who understand good shots and good timing and pacing. And Unreal is a fantastic tool for doing quick previs visualization, and you can turn your changes in really fast. So that's really our highlight for this term. We talk about how to use various techniques and tools like digital humans and things to be able to set up your shots and set up your scenes. And we get into various techniques of how to build virtual cameras and understand how to use some blueprints to be able to make a good virtual camera so you can get those shots that you're looking for. But a lot of the term will be about just practicing filmmaking. And then the third term is a portfolio term. So now, again, we get, and this is very unique for our course compared to all the other courses in CG Spectrum, is you get to kind of align your mentors based on your skill set. Because of the fact that virtual production is so widespread, we need to be able to make sure that the person that's highly skilled is the person that helps you mentor. And so in the portfolio term, we want to make sure that, if you want to get into cinematography, or if you want to get into world building, or if you want to get into technical animation, or even if you want to get into VFX, we can make sure that we have the right mentor lined up for you to help you with it. But we don't have course content that you're learning. It's more, this is a point where you know how to use Unreal. Now you need to make something that's going to be able to sell yourself. And then the course content that we do provide you is telling you how to prepare for getting into the industry, prepare for building your resume, your portfolio, and we have additional course events and things that you can talk to with Maxine, who's I think going to get introduced in a bit. But the idea is that you're working with a industry professional to build your portfolio. And then this course content is here to complement that, to make sure you're prepared.
So we also recently launched this new course called Unreal Connectors, and our first class is going to start on June 6th. Simon, would you like to introduce a bit of this intense course?
Yeah, so this is very new for us. It kind of was offered to us from Epic like a month ago. And it was something that we're still trying to figure out exactly what the flow is that's best for the school and best for the student. But the connectors course is designed, it's actually from the fellowship that the Unreal already offers, which is a very exclusive, you have to be good enough to get into it, and they have lots of people applying, and it's a very difficult course to get into, and it's usually only available to people who have had years of industry experience. And the reason why they've done that is because it's very intense. This is a much more intense course than our other term, where you could still have a full-time job and you could still be doing the schooling. But this is like, this is all you can do. We have 2 mentor Q&As a week and 3 technical assistance events Q&As a week. So there's every day of the week you're busy with somebody, and there's lots of course content, and we're just pumping you with all the information we can. So the idea would be you are coming to the school with experience and with knowledge of how to make and do things in a virtual production environment, but you don't know how to use Unreal yet. And so we're going to provide you the tools and the knowledge and the help to make sure that you learn the tool of Unreal to complement your already existing skill sets. And that is the big difference between the connectors and our virtual production term. The two of them, content-wise, will be very similar, but this one is really designed to it's like push the fast forward button on someone that's already in industry and allow them to really zip through and get the tool learned and then get back to work.
Yes, so this course, you will have 5 live sessions in total, so 1 for each workday. Also 10 hours of recorded materials for each week. So that's something you can expect if you decide to take the connector courses. We also have many other Rockstars mentors here that showing here, including Simon here. We have Deepak, William, Cal, John, and Sean.
We actually have 15 mentors in our virtual production term.
Here is just a short list of some of them.
That list is growing.
So just to mention that all the mentors, they're also working in the industry right now. So everything they bring here and all the insights are related and connecting to the industry directly and most updated. So you're going to hear someone that's working in the film and the game place already, and they're going to bring you the most updated news from the industry as well. Here's some mentors difference between us and many traditional schools.
The Q&As, for example, is really interesting. It's only 1 hour of Q&A a week, and then 20 minutes of offline, but that works out great as it complements the course content. And it gives you the flexibility to kind of, sometimes the mentor or you have to shift the meeting. We have the flexibility to move it. It's a little more tricky in a class than a one-on-one, but that flexibility is available. And the mentor, if you can work it with the mentor, the group of you, the small group of you, because his intakes are only a maximum of 4 students, can negotiate and work around and make things work. Oh, and our Slack community.
Yeah, we can mention more about our Slack community for sure. Okay. Basically, we're going to offer students with a lifelong access to our private communities. You can find all our mentors there, all our alumni there, and there will be ongoing job boards updating there. Our career development managers is also going to organize a lot of job events and also some webinars, live sessions again, and some contacts and challenges organized by TAs there that you can find.
We have technical assistants that we hire from students from the school that we want to that are there just to help the students, but also help encourage activity inside of the community. And they do a great job of just making competitions, building up people's interest and staying focused, and they're there to help you if you have problems. We have I don't know, quite a few TAs, maybe more than 10 anyway, or 10 and they're for different departments. So you know, depending on what department you're in, you can ask specific help and get specific help.
I think the TAs and the community is a very good place for students, especially for student learning real time, because you need to have some connections with people studying in different fields. So you can, if you are not familiar with 3D modeling or animations and you want to extend your skills there, that's also the place that you can make a connections or even do some collaboration or join programs with TAs and make a big project there for yourself as well. Logan, I see you raising your hand.
I just wanted to add a note, because that's how I started, was trying to self-teach, right? And, you know, I can do it all on my own. I don't need anyone. I'm so smart. I can learn everything from YouTube and it's for free. And you know, that's great and all, but if you don't have a plan, then there's the old saying, if you don't plan, then plan to fail. And I found myself with a lot of gaps in knowledge when I was trying to self-teach. And it really, being in an online school, an online community that's positive and helpful and jam-packed with resources and guidance, that is the main difference with learning with CG Spectrum and becoming a part of something more than just going through YouTube and finding somebody and following all their tutorials. Is no one person knows it all. And being in part of the community is really what can take you into that exponential growth phase, right? Because you have so many other people to bounce ideas off of in a constructive way, right? You know, just posting on Instagram and everyone saying, your friends saying, that's great, that's great, that's great. They're not going to give you the kind of feedback that you get from Simon or another mentor, because, you know, those people are going to give you their industry expertise in whatever field it is in an unbiased and really constructive way. And that's where I think that being a part of this is really critical to taking your education seriously and really going for it. So I just wanted to add that. It's a huge benefit, in my opinion.
Totally agree. Let's watch how our course actually works and then give Logan and Simon a little break here.
If you're looking to turn your creative passion for film and games into a successful career as a digital artist in the entertainment industry, choosing the right school can be a challenging decision. But imagine if you had access to industry mentors who have worked on blockbuster films and best-selling video games, supporting you every step of the way. When you enroll at CG Spectrum, you'll be connected to the most talented artists around the world who are excited to share their years of knowledge, ensuring that you are highly trained, well-connected, and prepared for your new career. Here's how it works. At the start of each week, you'll log into your learning management system where you review lesson requirements, watch your video lectures, and get started creating the first pass of your assignment. Next, you'll upload your files and meet with your mentor for a live midweek Q&A session to review your work, problem-solve issues, and discuss any questions you might have. Mentors work within your file-solving problems in real time, demonstrating their professional workflow to ensure that you don't make the same mistake twice. After the live Q&A session, you'll have until the end of the week to address your mentor's notes and submit another pass for a final video critique, ensuring that your work is portfolio ready. During your time at CG Spectrum, you'll have access to a curriculum designed by industry-leading artists, custom created video content and supportive materials, as well as free educational software, access to our student learning portal and online community where you'll get feedback on your work and grow your professional network. By the end of the course, you'll have learned the skills necessary to produce a polished professional portfolio and have the confidence in knowing that you have what it takes to succeed as an artist in the film and game industry. So if you're interested in becoming part of the next generation of production-ready artists and joining alumni at major studios all over the world, let us help you find your pathway to success. To be the best, learn from the best at CG Spectrum.
Next, let's talk about something everyone are very curious and want to know, the career that we prepare for virtual production.
So the type of careers that you can get in virtual production is very difficult to pinpoint. It's not nearly as clear as like I'm taking the animation course and I'm going to become an animator. It's very broad. And as you can see through this list here, we have a lot of different directions that it goes into. And it makes it actually very tricky as well for people trying to take this course, because they're coming from lots of different directions. We're getting people from architectural visualization and broadcasting and all kinds of things that are like, does this course make sense? Is virtual production, would I want to, is this the right course for learning virtual production? And so we're doing our best to try and figure out what the right path is for teaching everybody in the right direction. And I think a lot of that comes down to matching you with the correct mentor. But the career outcomes for people who have taken this course can go in all these different directions. And these using real time to visualize things it's a very noticeably hot spot right now within a lot of these different industries, and they're all trying to figure out how to get how to utilize this very visually not only visually enhanced, but also like the speed of making content using real time is saving companies lots of money, and also producing amazing results. So these are big motivation factors, and it's very much creating a vacuum for industries to look for talent who know how to use these tools. And we are reached out from a lot of different, either from game studios, but also film productions that want to find talented people who use Unreal and know how to be able to create the product that they're looking for. And it's a very hot market right now. And that's a big motivation why we created this course, even though it was it's been a bit of a bumpy road because it's so hard to define exactly what it is we're trying to teach. But as we go along, we're pinpointing exactly what the industry is wanting and what we can do to make sure the student gets the most value from our course. And I think we're on the right track. So yeah, it's time will tell in terms of how many options, how big this list gets, because I don't think we've even hit all the different possibilities just here.
Exactly. I still remember by the time that when I was working in visual effects studios as a production coordinator, the studio has a decision to create a new department only for virtual productions. So I think that is really a game-changing plan for the whole industry by that time. And after 2 years, at this point, we'll see more and more opportunities coming up and different titles that highlights Unreal Engine's techniques and require students to know real-time production when they actually start their career. So I still expect to see a lot of future changing in the learning and development sides and the recruitment sides as well. Here, I would like to pass another questions in our chat box. The intro course has some prerequisites. Is it possible to get these basics by following tutorials of Unreal Engines from their website or by other ways? Would you suggest, or is it at all possible to still enroll in the intro course if you do not have these basic skills yet? Great questions. We actually get a lot of questions similar to that one.
Yeah, this is definitely worth talking about. What we do is we try to encourage people to take some sort of, we have a foundations course where we do intro to modeling, intro to animation, and it traditionally has always had a third term that talked about how to learn Unreal. If you wanted to go more in, it used to be like the game production, we called it, but now it's become so, that doesn't sound right anymore. It's like, well, it's not games. You can learn you can do all sorts of stuff with Unreal now. So, but that was kind of our plan, was that people would they'd learn how to model and they'd learn how to animate and they'd sort of build up their skills. And then at the end, they'd get into Unreal and use those skills that they just learned to be able to create the assets that they wanted to do. That still exists, except for now, instead of calling it game production, we call it our intro to real time. And we've adjusted the course content to be more technical animation. So when people come into the course and they don't have any of these modeling animation skills, it's a little bit disjointing, because you come into here and you're like, I want to make assets, I want to import stuff, I want to do stuff, but I don't know yet how to make, I don't understand what UVs are, I don't understand what good edge flows are, I don't know what timelines are in graph editors, I don't know, like there's a lot of unknowns still, even though the course itself, you can learn how to use Unreal, you can learn how to use the tools, and you can bring in Quixel assets, and you can bring in animations already from the marketplace, and you can make stuff happen. But without some sort of background understanding of how these things are created, you're kind of limited in terms of what your creative abilities are. And so we try to encourage people who are coming at it really from a whole different industry, like a whole different process. You don't know anything about this, to take the foundations first, go through that course, really get a good base. And because, we teach it in Maya, but it's the same principles in all the other software. If you're going to use Blender or whatever, it's just the core fundamentals of how to be an artist in that direction. And then it really helps with the rest of the course content. However, with that being said, you can take this course without any of that, and you can still get through the course, and you can still learn Unreal. In fact, you could finish the course and then take foundations afterwards and learn how to do animation modeling, and it would still work. But it would be it would feel a little backwards, because we try to get it to the point at the end of this course to be employable and you're ready to get in the industry. So it would be a bit weird to start learning how to model right after you're finished. So that's where we kind of stand on that one. We won't stop you from taking the intro. And if the question was maybe trying to skip the intro, I don't know if that was maybe what specifically was. Sometimes we ask, people are saying, I already know how to use Unreal. Can I just skip on the intro and go straight into the course? Well, that argument is, do you know how to do the animation side of Unreal? And the reason why we push that is that we want to make sure that everyone has a good understanding of how to get characters in motion to work, because 90% of the questions we get on the community is, why is my character broken? Why does why does this not work? Why does that not work? And it's all animation related, because nobody ever bothers to learn how to do animation stuff. And it's always a big gap in people's knowledge. So it's kind of like eating your vegetables. We want to make sure that you guys understand how it works. And you don't have to be masters at technical animation. You just have to go through and get a good sense of how all this stuff works. So it's a good, nice structure. And then you get into the world building, which is what most people tend to like to do. And then we talk about filmmaking, and then you get to make your piece. So we usually try to make sure that anyone who doesn't, who wants to skip the intro term, needs to show us that they have some sort of animation and Unreal ability, just to show that, you've got that piece figured out before you jump into Will's term. And you definitely need to know how to use Unreal before you get into Will's term, because otherwise you're going to be really hands tied as you're trying to keep up with what he's talking about without knowing some of the basics of materials and importing and stuff like that.
Yeah, and our curriculum is built by experts and professionals like Simon and Logan. They've already working in the industry, so they know what kind of skill that we need to put into your toolbox. And we're putting this intro course as a prerequisites for a reason. That's why we still, on the admission side, we still highly recommended everyone can start with the intro course, so that you can have a very complete and comprehensive understanding of how real-time production actually works. So let's watch some student testimonial. First one is from Mark. We have just enjoyed his demo reels, and he's currently one of the students that are going to graduate in our course, and we are very excited to see how he will go on his career path.
Working part-time on another contract, so he's already employed, but he's still taking the course.
Yeah, I think with Mark, it's kind of like the student has become the master, yeah.
Right.
And that's something that I think that we really love is Mark brought his full passion. And it's like, okay, well, I'm kind of needed to check my ego, because Mark can make stuff, better than we can. So you see, so with some of the people, so it's like, it's really, is the poster child of bringing your full force and your full drive and enthusiasm, and reading his quote, I'm bringing my dreams to life, right? And that's really the exciting part of Realtime. And if your dream if you don't like it, well, you can change it and you can re-render it in 1 minute. And so, it's just super inspiring, even to the mentors and the TAs, right?
We're lining Mark up with Tamara, who works at it's Pixamundo in Toronto, and it's a LED wall-based virtual production system. So he's selected his mentor to make sure that he can still learn and gain knowledge about what the industry is like inside of a virtual production studio, so that he can while he's working on his content, he can be learning from his mentor, and his mentor can give him, Tamer's a lighting artist, so he'll be able to give him lots of feedback, high level. He used to work at ILM for like a decade before he works at Pixamundo. So yeah, he's getting very niche, very specific experience help during his mentorship during the portfolio term.
And we can also see that here Matt mentioned about the world building term with William Foucher as well. William is also very popular. I hear a lot of students just ask about him when I'm watching all those inquiries from potential students.
He's pretty humble too. So he's always like, oh gosh, really?
I can tell that by watching his art stations, and also his a lot of work on YouTube video as well. So here's just a short list of studios that already hire our graduates from CG Spectrums. I think everyone will be quite familiar of most of them already. So this covers both the in games field and in visual effects field as well. Also, just a short list of recent student success. These are students graduated recently and have already been hired by the studios mentioned here. Next, I'd like to talk about the benefits of studying in CG Spectrums in general. So with a greater level of personal interactions and guidance from industry mentors, our students can progress faster and graduate with the job skills and confidence to produce their dream career. So what we offer is a training focused on job outcomes and a lot of flexibilities as well as we are an online school. Students can choose whenever to study based on their daily routines and where to study as well. So many students, they just travel and study with us at the same times. Many students, I would say, actually have a full-time job or a part-time job and also studying with us. So online education is just very ideal for students who has a lot of life commitments, and they also want to pursue their dreams at the same times. We also have payment plans for students to choose. You can choose to pay upfront, per term, or per month, depends on how you want to organize your finance. Besides the pre-recorded materials we provide to students, we also have regular weekly live sessions between you and the mentors so that your mentor can give you regular on-time feedbacks on how you progress. Mentioned before already, all the mentors we have are working in the studios or working actively in the industry already. So the insights from them are directly from studios that's working right now. And you can also network with them before you even join a studios. Hands-on educations. So the materials we offer and the curriculum is already condensed, which means that we exclude those unnecessary units and subjects that your employer just doesn't need you to know. Here's the training that we focus highly on portfolio building so that your work can speak for themselves already when you send them to an employer or a supervisor for review. It's 100% online for sure, so that what you need is your Wi-Fi, your webcam, and your hardware, and then you're ready to study with us. We mentioned already before that we have a lively, vibrant, private community for you to learn and to get in touch with all the other students and the mentors. And also we have 2 different study options for students to choose. There are 2 major differences between these 2 study options. The first one is the small group class. The second one is the one-on-one private mentoring. The first is the mentor will be available to tailor the course to suit your personal goals and skill sets if you're taking the private class. If you want to focus on one particular area more than the other one, then your mentor will be able to do it totally. The second difference between the 2 study options is that the Q&A time will be far more flexible for students in the private course, because you can schedule them based on your own needs and your own schedules instead of considering other people's schedule anymore. Also, if you're taking the one-on-one, which means that you will have the full 1 hour live session each week with your mentor, and they will spend the entire time with you to discuss everything about the course, to review your work, and even bring more questions aside from your current work, but about the industry itself. So as you are a CG Spectrum student, you will be invited to join our private communities, and then will have many other time to do the networking as well. So even if you are taking the private course, you don't need to worry about networking or learning from other students. Maxine is someone that I met even before I joined CG Spectrum. She's a wonderful person, and she was a producer before joining CG Spectrum. Now she's our career development managers. And with Maxine, she's helping students to find employment even easier compared to do it by yourself. Here's something we highlighted that Maxine can help you to do. You can organize one-on-one career guidance meetings with her besides the course and the live sessions we provide to you already. During the one-on-one private session, you can do a portfolio review, demo reviews, check up your resumes, also do mock interviews for you if you receive an offer or receive an interview invites from a studio already. There's also career-focused workshops and webinars we organize a lot and on a regular basis in our communities. Also, we are ongoing building a portfolio database. So whenever there's a studio or a recruiter reaching out to Maxine, she will be able to send your work from CG Spectrum side to the recruiter side directly, which can highly increase the rates for a student to get hired. Mentioning again here, our community here in CG Spectrums, it's actually my personal favorite part again. So here is really the place for you to do networking, which is very important for this industry. Once you connect to one person, like the whole network is waiting for you to discover it. There's ongoing live events and contests and challenges for you to discover there. Also a place for you to team up with other students, learning different programs so that you can create an even bigger project than doing it by yourself. For example, I hear that students taking the game design course, they will team up with students taking the real-time course and 3D modeling course, and then to create one game all together. Also, there's a place for you to meet mentors, as we mentioned already. Job boards will be updated on a daily basis. All in one, here's a place that for people to know other peoples around the world without even leaving your house. All right, so Q&A sessions. I think we did really well on answering all the questions during our presentation. So far, we haven't got any new questions yet. Oh, here we go, we have one. With virtual productions being a hot topic, is the field also very competitive and that way harder to get into?
No, it's the opposite right now. It's very odd because no schools know how to teach it yet, and there's this huge vacuum. This is true for a lot of things in the industry, where there's a lot of talented people that are very, very busy right now who are way overwhelmed, and it makes it very challenging for us as a school trying to find some mentors. A lot of the people that we reached out to have been like, no, I am way, way beyond my capacity to be able to handle mentoring. Even though it's only a very, small commitment on their part, it's been challenging to find people who have some capacity to handle it. So studios are looking to us to try and fill out, and even like, for example, with Tamer that I was talking about with Mark, and he's like also looking for people. So he's mentoring, but he's also like, is there an avenue where we can like reach out and poach students? So they're really very much interested in trying to find people who kind of fit what they need to what they need to do in virtual production. And we're trying to make sure our course is lined up with what that need is. there are some courses that we have, like I've even heard in our compositing course, like students don't even make it to the end because they get hired. So, our course is so new that we can't really say exactly what our results are at the end, but we do know that there's a huge demand, and it's very well known that there's just not enough people in this industry right now to fill all the roles.
Yeah, same as what I hear from Maxine. Like, she's updating me one day that there's studios or recruiters already reaching out to her and ask whoever graduated, please send their portfolio to us.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is how hot this course and this whole field is right now in the industry.
That's why we got it started in September, because we know that we got to get these students going through, because they still got to spend 9 months going through it. So but yeah, it's been a challenging course, that's for sure, especially like jumping mentors around for each term. It's a tough course to try and stay on top of, but I think we're getting it, and we're getting it figured out. And we're seeing some promising results with students.
Yeah. So there's another question coming up. Right moment. Do you have any tips on how to work on developing the basic skills required for the course? Given that the foundations course is 40 hours per week. Yes, it's required 40 hours per week of time commitments from CG Spectrum side. That's too much for the students. Also, I will run out of money if I will do it all.
Right, no job. Right, I get it. This is for the foundations course.
Yes, for the foundations course, we do recommend students to spend 40 hours per week, because for the first 2 terms, you're going to learn both animations and 3D modeling, which is quite time consuming for a student to learn. So basically, we expect you to be a full-time student if you can, and then you can get into the level that you're ready for using Unreal without any issues to understanding the other parts of the pipeline.
Yeah, I mean, I mentored for foundations for a number of years, and it's much more intense. I mean, you are given double the content, but you have to really judge about where you want to put your focus on and what it is you want to get out of it. At the end of the day, it's time put in is value taken out. So 40 hours a week is what you'll need to do to get a really high quality result. If that's what you're able to put in, then that's what you can do. But you can also go through the course with less hours and still end up with all the knowledge needed. It's just, if you want to be employable as an animator or as a modeler, you got to be putting in some heavy hours. Just to be clear, the modeling department is a very competitive and very difficult industry to get into. So that is a whole different argument about an industry. And animation is very similar, although animation is actually a really difficult skill to be good at, and that makes the industry a little easier to get into. If you are a good animator, you will probably find employment. But it is also very competitive, because it's usually the default answers of what people think of when they think CG. They're like, oh, I'm going to be a modeler, I'm going to be an animator. They don't really thinking out of that picture. And meanwhile, there's lots of different types of jobs beyond that. So it really depends. But yeah, you have to gauge in terms of how much time you're willing to invest into learning it. It's a tough question, because I understand you got to work full time. You got to work a job and then do the thing on top of it. And I don't want to say, just do part of it, but at the same time, that might be the best solution. The education itself is really valuable. As someone who's trying to get in the industry, I can't underscore that enough. Being able to have a good sense of modeling and a good sense of edge flow and knowing UVs and knowing animation stuff doesn't matter what industry you get into. That foundation knowledge is very valuable. And this, tends to be, if you're in a smaller studio, you tend to be more of a jack of all trades, and skills like that come in really handy, because then it's like, we got a problem. Oh, I know how to solve it, and you fix it for them. And then suddenly you are like a very important person in the studio. So it's hard to evaluate what you can tolerate, what you can't do. But these are really good skills to have.
So before we're wrapping up, I would like to also share you guys a new podcast that we recently launched on a lot of platforms you can find. So you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Google, Apple. if you would like to hear more from Maxine and also Justin. Justin is also one of our mentors. To know more about the industry itself and like even things beyond CG Spectrum, what's happening in a game or visual effects studios, you can hear all about it from them. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm very happy to see you all and looking forward to hearing back from you from our apply page. Feel free to send us applications, and if you have any following questions for Simon, Logan, or me, feel free to email us there as well. So Simon and Logan, thank you both again. I know Logan is super busy actually. He has a couple of deadlines running after him.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad I could stick around. And yeah, just I know it's tough. It's a lot of work. I gave up a 6-figure career, and I was on the very, very, very low end of income for 2 years. And it's one of those things where, the sacrifice is definitely worth it in the end. And like Simon saying, it's almost overwhelming the amount of work that is in the people want with Unreal, and weekly, if not every other day, I'm getting somebody asking me, and it's kind of like, pump the brakes, like one thing at a time. So it's a big decision, but I can tell you that the sacrifice is worth it. This stuff is not going away. If anything, it's going to be ramped up exponentially. And as Simon mentioned, like there is a true vacuum here. I look forward to meeting some of you, and hopefully I can then pass on some of those opportunities that I can't take and say, hey, I can't do this, but I do know Shoshana's really ready to go.
Right. There you go.
So you never know, right? I mean, I actually got my first job from my original teaching assistant at my first online school. So it is a small industry. Be positive, make friends, and just, you never know where the connections will lead you to.
Thanks again, Shoshana, as well. I see there's so many valuable questions that you bring up. And I will see everyone in our next info sessions of Future. So have a great day, and bye-bye here.
Bye, everyone.